What is up, StuMo? I am so pumped to be here. My name is Jackson Dunn, and before I get started, I gotta be honest with you guys. I ran over my neighbor's dog with my car on purpose. Guys, I know, it's bad, and I know it's bad, all right? But let me just explain to you. I absolutely love cars, all right? I've always loved cars. My dad got me into cars. I like trucks. I like buggies, race cars, really whatever it is with four wheels, that's my stuff. And it all started when my dad bought me an RC car for my 12th birthday, and I was stoked. All right, this thing gave me so much life. I was playing around in the backyard with my brother. He had his own race car. We were driving around, building jumps, running into each other. Guys, this thing was awesome. But you know when you first get something and it's super exciting, and then it starts to lose that touch. You know, it starts to lose that glow a little bit, and that's exactly what happened with this RC car. I was like, gosh, why is this thing so boring? I don't know, what do I need to do to get more life out of this RC car? So I'm sitting there, right? We're playing with the RC car. 2 weeks go by, and I'm like, dang, this thing's boring. And I start to notice a lot of foot traffic going behind my house in this thing called a green belt. And let me just set this stage of a green belt, all right? A green belt is like nice, lush grass, hills, trees, apple trees, orange trees, whatever it is, and it's really just a place where people can decompress, right? They have a hard day at their 9 to 5, they come, they walk their dog, they have their coffee. That's not what I saw this greenbelt as. I thought of it as a place where I could take my RC car and absolutely unleash this thing, all right? So that's exactly what I did. But I started to notice this certain couple, right? This certain couple would always walk the greenbelt. They had this little yapper dog, right? A little Chihuahua, 4 inches tall. This thing was annoying, basically a siren. Everyone in the entire neighborhood hated this thing. Everyone was ticked. I could see it. The guy next door was like, look at this guy. And I'm like, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to perform a community service event, and I'm going to eliminate this dog. That's what I'm going to do. And that's exactly what I did. I devised a plan to eliminate this dog. So what did I do, right? I put my RC car on the other side of the fence, and I cut a little peek hole in a fence, right? I was like, right, perfect eye height. And I was going to wait. And I was going to wait for my target to come, and as soon as they crossed this imaginary line, I'm going to gun the throttle and send this plastic missile into this dog, all right? So the day has come. It's game day. I'm sitting there. I'm waiting. The guy comes, not the guy that I want. No, elderly couple. I stayed away from the elderly, all right? Then I see my target. I see him. I see this couple with this Chihuahua, and I'm like, perfect. The thing crosses the imaginary line. I pull the throttle. I send this plastic missile, hit the dog. All 4 legs fly. This thing is helicoptering through the air. It lands, rolls, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just killed a dog. And I was right. The thing died, guys. No, I'm playing. The thing was alive. But guys, I wanted more. I wanted more life. You know what? This greenbelt extends to the other side of the road. I'm going to go on the other side of the road, and I'm going to continue my reign of terror. And that's exactly what I did. So I went to the other side of the road. I had my imaginary line. I saw more dogs, and I'm like, gosh, I'm just really helping everyone out here, all right? Another guy comes with his dog. I send the throttle. He comes across the line. I send the throttle. The RC car goes over to him, and it dies right in front of him. This dude takes a full tomahawk kick, misses it. I have it all on GoPro footage. He grabs it, throws it over his shoulder, and steals my RC car. Absolutely steals it, and I'm devastated. Like, this is the end of my reign. What am I going to do? Guys, I felt so alive doing this, but it just wasn't enough. I wanted the next best thing. I had to keep reaching for the next best thing. I just wasn't satisfied. Guys, this story is absolutely crazy. I know, it's diabolical. But it revealed to me I just wasn't satisfied. I just wanted the next best thing. A lot of us come to college and we're just not satisfied. We come to college trying to find purpose, but we end up actually finding poison. This is one of our driving factors. We come to college, we want to explore ourselves. We want to find ourselves. We come here, we try to get involved in Greek life, fraternities, sororities, clubs, whatever it may be. We're like, this is where I'm going to find my satisfaction. But Jesus actually gives us instruction on how to avoid this. It's a pit, it's a trap, guys, and Jesus actually helps us out here. Verse 7 and 8, John 10, verse 7, he gives us instruction and he says, "Very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who have come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep have not listened to him." Guys, Jesus is the gate. What does this mean that Jesus is the gate? He plays the role of a gate. So back in the old days when they had the shepherds and they had the sheep, the shepherd would play the role as a gate. They would allow the sheep to pass in and out of the pastures. They would come in and out to eat, come in and out to get their coats taken, their wool, and the shepherd would play the role of letting them in and out. Jesus plays that exact role for us. When we pass through his door actually has no passcode. It's free. We just walk through the door and he has pastures and life waiting for us. But he warns us. He warned us about these things called thieves and robbers. What is Jesus talking about here? These are people that pretend they know what is good for you. The people that lie, deceive you, and get you to replace what God has given you and get it to replace something else in your life. But he says at the very end, "But the sheep have not listened to them." Guys, the sheep do not listen to them. These thieves and robbers, they come, they tell the lies, they try to deceive them, but the sheep do not listen. Why is this? Because the sheep know the voice of the shepherd. They know who is in charge of their life. Let me take you back to my sophomore year, right? I'm living in my fraternity house. This is a part of my life, or time of my life, where I had everything under control, right? I look over my buddy. He's got his life under control too. Just got an L, 2.2 GPA. We're killing it, right? We look at each other, and I'm like, you know what we should do? We should add a dog to the mix. Let's add another life into this. And he's like, you know what? That's a great idea. So that's exactly what we did. We're driving to Pima Animal Control Center, and we're going to buy this dog. We have no idea what to expect. We get there, and we're walking the aisles. Guys, Pima Animal Control is a heinous spot. It's like actually pretty sad. So we're walking the aisles. These dogs, man, like you have genetic mutated species. You have like a dog who can't keep his tongue in his mouth, and then you got like a tripod over here, three-legged dog. And then I see my boy. Throw him up. Yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, so his original name was SWAT. All right, so it's a little bit scary of a name, but dude, look at this guy. We dressed him up for our fraternity pictures. He was killing it. But we're ready to check this thing out. We actually take the dog for a test drive. You guys can actually do this. So we take him out to the back of the Pima Animal Control. We're throwing the ball at them. We're like, all right, good enough. So he brings the ball back. We check out. We're like, all right, we're ready to buy this dog. And she's like, hey, before you buy this, we need to tell you something. And I'm like, what? He knows how to throw the ball. He's fine. So she tells us he has a red flag, and he actually was found murdering another dog on the side of the road. And I'm like, oh my gosh. All right, it's fine. How much is he? $20. All right, we give her $20 cash. We walk home with this dog, and we're pumped, guys. We're playing T-Grizzly first day out, driving back to the fraternity house. We are jacked, all right? We get to the fraternity house, open the door. I'm like, buddy, be free. Go. He runs. What does he do? First thing he does, he goes out to the pickup basketball game and mangles a fully inflated basketball. Just mangles it. You can visit, like shaking his head or like, oh my gosh, we just bought a pocket terrorist. Like, what just happened? He goes after the thing. We're like, stop, dog. We think the dog speaks Spanish. We're like, siéntate. No. We're trying to name the dog. We're like, El Jefe, Chapo. We don't know what to do with this thing. And he would not listen. We're like, gosh, this dog is so dumb. What did we just buy? But the dog grew on us, guys. He started to understand our voice because we showed our love for him. This guy was like, oh, these guys love me. Feed? Yeah, good. So that's exactly what happened. I would do anything for this dog. Our house dad even threatened to evict me for this dog, but I'm like, I'm going to make him a service dog. So I did. He's a service dog. Kappa Sig House, he's actually certified to be there. We'll figure it out later. But why? Why did I do that? Because Tyson listened to my voice because he had no clue how much I actually loved him. Jesus loves us so much, and when we understand that, we start to hear and listen to his voice. When we listen to his voice, he promises us something that we can never be beaten. Verse 9 talks about that. He says, I am the gate. Right there it is again, the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. So again, Jesus says, I am the gate. The lies told you on what gives you fulfillment is a lie. Jesus is saying that I am the fulfillment. The cheap happiness that the world offers you right now is temporary. But the fulfillment that Jesus offers you, the fulfillment that Jesus offers you now is eternal, but what the world offers you is temporary. He says they will come in and out, and they will find pasture. Guys, when I think of pasture, I think of rolling hills. For some reason, Norway comes to mind. I don't know why, but I just think of rolling hills. I think of big mountain faces. I think of dandelions, sunflowers, whatever it is. That's the definition of the pasture that I have. And I think it's a pretty valid one. But the pasture that Jesus is talking about, the pasture that we actually get to explore and experience for ourselves, is peace, it's purpose, it's joy. It's a life worth living. It's a life with no shame, no guilt. The pasture that Jesus talks about and the pasture that we often think about are two completely separate things. Guys, when we pursue the wrong pastures, it leads to a life of very, very little purpose. Our leading cause of emptiness in college students is their endless pursuit of wrong pastures. I fell into this. Why is this? It's because we confuse pleasures with pastures. What does this look like? This looks like a bunch of different things. It looks like, hey, if I get this executive board position, if I get this job, if I have that social media presence, if I have the boyfriend, the girlfriend, I need to show off to my parents. This was a big one for me. Family, kids. Guys, these things are not bad at all. But when our happiness and self-worth fluctuates with how we are winning in these categories, the thieves and robbers are winning. We can't let this happen. So, let me tell you about this story with my roommate. I graduated last May. We're hanging out. We're about to go on our way. And I'm like, all right, dude, where are you going? I'm like, I'm kind of nervous. This guy might end up in a basement somewhere. I'm like, where are you going? You getting a job? He's like, hey, I just want to be like my brother. He has a wife, a kids, a steady job. Once I have that, then I'll be happy. Guys, these things are great, but he put a ceiling on himself. He's like, once I have X, Y, Z, then I'll be happy. I'm like, dang, dude, like, you got to have a little more than that, right? You guys can replace wife and kids and steady job with anything to fill that, but anything that your identity relies on. Guys, Jesus is offering you happiness and fulfillment now. It's not a, if you do this, then you will experience this. He says, come and follow me now, and I will give you pastures. All right, let me take you back to 12 years old again, around same era as the RC car incident, all right? So I'm playing wiffle ball in the backyard with my brother, doing what older brothers usually do. I'm beating this kid like 73-6, absolutely punishing him. And we have these DIY bases set around the field, right? He's hating his life. I'm just like, throw me another pitch. We have metal bats. We're like hitting these tennis balls into the street. I'm having a great time. He's hating it. And at the end, we're playing this game, right? I'm up. I'm like, I need to run the score up a little more. He ends up striking me out. He threw something. I'm like, dude, I didn't see that coming. I swing, miss, and he strikes me out. When I look at him, and he's scared. He knows what's about to happen. I don't even know what's about to happen. I'm just looking at him. He's like, oh my gosh. And what do? I throw this metal wiffle ball bat. I guess it's not even a wiffle ball bat. I throw this metal bat, and it helicopters towards him. I'm like, that is going to hit him. That's going to hit him. You need to move. And he's just sitting there wide-eyed, like he's 8. He can't move. What does it do? This bat hits him right in the forehead. It just absolutely clanks him. And I'm like, another attempted murder in my neighborhood. What is happening? What is happening? I run over there. I'm like, all right, dude, chill out. Listen to me, all right? You listen. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to go get you ice. You are not going to tell mom and dad. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out together. And he's like crying. I'm like, shh. So I go grab the ice. I put on his head. We have this whole powwow. All right, I'm like, dude, you cannot tell mom and dad. You just can't do that. Because if he does that, like, my phone's going to get taken away, and that's game-changing, all right? That's just going to happen. So, like, mom and dad come home. Baden is just trying to hide his welt. You really can't. It seems like a softball on his head. And mom and dad come home. And they're like, "How are you playing baseball?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're playing baseball." Like, Baden's looking in the corner, right? I'm like, "What's Baden doing?" He turns around. He just has this welt on his head, and without hesitation, he rats me out. He betrays me. He's like, he threw a wiffle ball bat at me, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, my phone was taken away. Worst 2 weeks of my life." I thought we understood that through that meeting, we were not going to tell mom and dad. I was so confident I had done the right things to ensure that wouldn't happen, and it ended up leading to major consequences. Guys, sometimes we can be so sure of something, and we don't even realize it was never good for us all along. What does this look like? It comes in the form of many different things. People using you to get what they want. Maybe depression because our identity was in that job. Emptiness because our identity was in that spouse or that guy or that girl. Anxiety because we don't know what the next month, week, or year holds. Guys, Jesus does not want you to worry about these things. And he gives us hope. In John 10:10, he says, "The thief comes only to steal, to kill, and destroy. But I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." Jesus' pastures are our purpose. Jesus not only promises us eternity in his pastures, but a fulfilling life in the world now. It's not if you check the boxes, if you do X, Y, Z, eternity is just going to be a whole lot better for you. He says, hey, I want eternity to come down now. I want you to have a fulfilling life now. Stepping into that life is purposeful. Why? Because God created a purpose for all of you. It doesn't always look the same, but he created all of you individually, and he loves you, and he has a plan for you. He has pastures set out for you. Guys, this is why we feel so empty when we just pursue the things of ourselves. We don't pursue the things that God has given us. Trust me, I have been there, done that. First 3 years of my college life, I was in the fraternity. I had the e-board position. I was social chair of my fraternity. I had the status, but I felt more empty than I ever could in my life. I was trying everything to fill that hole in my heart. Through girls, through drugs, through parties, through alcohol, whatever would fill me momentarily, that's what I wanted. I was so empty pursuing myself. And it wasn't until someone actually showed me that Jesus has a plan for myself that I started to realize, oh my gosh, I have purpose. I have purpose. And that's what I always was looking for. Jesus goes on, guys. He says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. Just as the Father knows me and I know the Father, I lay down my life for the sheep. Guys, when we understand that Jesus lays his life down for us and that he loves us, we become passionate about pursuing his pastures. We become passionate. Think about your parents, your mom, your dad, and how well they know you, how well they know the needs of you, like those super specific bed sheets, right? I like the silk, the Egyptian silk. I don't know, I like it. Your parents know what you want, right? They made your bed when you were younger. How much more does God know the gifts that he has prepared for you? These gifts are far better than sheets and Cheerios when you wake up, all right? These things include purpose, passion, pastures. A good shepherd knows what his sheep need. What does this mean for us? What is all this, like you said all these things, what does it mean to actually experience pasture? Guys, what if we actually believed that Jesus' pastures are exactly how he describes them? Of purpose, of peace, of life. What if we took him at his word? What if we believed him? What do we have to lose? If everything he says is true, what about this fulfilling life? How can I experience this now? I want you guys to evaluate. If I lost control of my favorite thing in the world, would I be empty? Pursuing Jesus now is worth it because abundant life is waiting for us, a fulfilling life that he promises us. Imagine a world. Imagine if you spent the rest of the semester, year, college life experiencing the life that Jesus has prepared for all of us. How much more awesome would it be to be a part of that plan? instead of experiencing anxiety, depression, and pressures from our own standards that we put on ourselves. God doesn't want us to put those pressures on ourselves. Guys, it reminds me, as silly it is, of that RC car, how I felt so alive on my reign of terror. I know, it's terrible. I felt so alive, though, guys. But the temporary feeling of life caused me to fall into an endless circle of a temporary high and a much more devastating low. Guys, we need to be aware of the things that we pursue and the things we give our time to. I want to challenge you. Are the things that you are pursuing life-giving or life-taking? Thank you, guys.